The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Puff in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh. Got my hustle on, no imitation or fad. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off season, homie, check the numbers. Heart throb in my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too feeble and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty. Shake!
All right, welcome to the Earnestly Speaking podcast. I'm your host, Earnest EJ Christian, coming to you on a chilly Wednesday afternoon here in South Florida. Of course, on the line for his weekly spot for our picks of the week, our man Zack The Gambling Degenerate. Zack, what's up, bud?
Not much, man. Struggling to find a winner in football.
Yeah, we both went 7-9 this week with our competition here, so no movement there. So the current totals right now is the following. For the year, I am now 107, 97, and 4. You are 104, 99, and 5. There's still 3 weeks to go. Still time to flip the narrative. It's still a tight race, man. We got, I can slip. I mean, these picks getting harder and harder week, so I can slip at any time.
There's 3 games in 3 weeks. That's easy.
Yeah. And I'm not as confident in these picks either, too, just for the record. Even this week's games, I'm like, oh my gosh. There's not one double digit game this weekend.
Hallelujah for that. Maybe
yeah.
I can finally get a game right.
Yeah, because dude, I'm on my best bets. I was just saying off the air. I went 4-1 for the weekend. We both had the Chargers covering 14 over Cincinnati. And if the Chargers did their job, I mean, they won the game, obviously. If they did their job, I would have gone 5-0 for the first time in a couple of years. So, oh well, it is what it is. It is what it is. Before we get started, quick thoughts on the Heisman. I don't think last week we spoke the Heisman in terms of like who you thought should. Did we talk about that last week on the show?
A little bit. I mean, we understood it was really only between 2 guys.
Right. Did they get it right here?
Yeah, for the simple fact that I think everyone knows that Alabama is a far superior team when it comes to their recruiting classes, so they should be a more dominant team overall. So how much of an impact does Tua have versus, say, Kyle Murray on Oklahoma?
And I think what happened too with voters also, and people like me also, who was Tua all the way through, because Tua was dominant as well throughout the year. But what you just said there, I think that point got driven home when you saw what happened in the SEC title game when Jalen Hurts came in the game with the team trailing Georgia, and they still won the game. That was driven home, I think, and you combine it with Kyle Murray's what he had to do this year, margin of error being small because the defense is horrible. Yeah, that's probably why he won the whole thing.
That's how I make sense of it, and I don't think anyone got it wrong.
Right. Would I have been mad if Tua won it? No. I wouldn't have been mad at all. But, one of those things where, I guess, I'll say this much. If the result happens in the SEC title game 2 weeks ago, if that doesn't play out the way it did, I think Tua might have won the award.
Oh, yeah. If he has a game like Kyle Murray did, then absolutely, he probably wins it.
Right. So, I don't know. There's a lot of different perspectives on the situation. Like, I had Kyle on the show yesterday, and he was saying that he thought Tua should have won it regardless, and, I don't know. I told him, he could have gone either way, I wouldn't have been mad either way. As long as Haskins didn't win it, it's fine. So... All right, let's get to the picks of the week, shall we? As you know, every week, get the spread. Me and Zach battle out. Again, he's 3 games behind me. There's a lot of football to be played. So, tomorrow's game, huge game of the week. and it's also the last Thursday game of the year. So
Really?
yes, it is.
Damn.
Yes, it is. So, and that game is putting the LA Chargers going to Kansas City. The Chargers are 3.5-point favorites. Zach, how you feel about this game?
The Chargers are favorites or underdogs?
No, Chiefs are favorites.
Did you say?
That's the Chargers. I
Okay.
apologize. The Chiefs are favored by 3.5 points. I apologize.
Yeah. I feel like this is going to be like the redemption game. The Chargers hung into the very end, week 1 against the Chiefs, when they had turnovers galore, couldn't get a stop, and they were just caught off guard by Kansas City's offense. Now you're talking almost end of the season. They've got game tape. I would expect the Chargers to show up and pull a victory out.
Really? You're high on Chargers? I mean,
Yeah.
They are your Super Bowl pick, right, to go in the AFC? I believe?
Yeah.
Yes. So, there's an agenda here. I'll be honest with you, Kansas City has come to earth a little bit the last couple of weeks. I was impressed, though, with the way they play against Baltimore, a team that doesn't give a shit, punch in the mouth. And the fact that Mahomes responded the way he did in that fourth quarter, regardless, was very impressive. Chargers playing very good football. End of discussion. They big win in Pittsburgh a couple weeks ago. They won some really tough games throughout the year. I'm gonna go and be a wuss here and take the over, at 53.5. Because again, I think I kind of see where you're coming from. There's a very good chance the Chargers win this game. There's a very good chance.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if the Chargers win the game, it's a guaranteed over. And odds are, even if the Chiefs were to win in like a blowout, it's still going to be an over. But every time I pick an over-under, I lose. So I'm just going to go with the Chargers.
Straight up, huh? Okay. All right. Next game here, we have the Houston Texans heading to Jersey, MetLife Stadium, facing the New York Jets. The Texans are 6.5-point favorites. Zach, Texans 9-game winning streak's over.
Yeah, and it was sad to see how it went down against the Colts. I had taken the over in that game and was shocked that Houston couldn't get that final touchdown.
Yeah, and another thing too, also not being talked about also with that loss. And look, they've been impressive the last 9 weeks, obviously. The Patriots lost this week to Miami on a miracle. Okay, had Houston won this game with Indy, they'd be the 2 seed right now in the AFC. And given the fact that
that would be a whole different story,
right? And given the fact that New England did beat Houston in week 1, they need that switch. So they lost an opportunity to really flip it because I'm not sure the Pats lose on the game the rest of the year.
Wow.
Well, I mean, you got Pittsburgh this week. That's the toughest one going forward. Then Bills, Jets end the year. I mean, odds are they'll go 3-0. Odds are, I said. I don't know.
Yeah. I would not have expected you to pick them this week.
Who, the Patriots?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll get down there in a second. Anyway, I took Houston to cover the Jets here in a angry bounce back win.
Yeah, I mean, I've done pretty good picking Houston, so I might as well ride with them.
Okay. Next game here, we have the Cleveland Browns heading to Denver to face the Broncos. The Broncos are currently 3-point favorites. Zach, Browns are playing spoiler, and by the way, the Browns not out of the woods yet for the playoff spot. The AFC North is still for grabs in some cases because the way the Steelers are playing and their schedule, and the Ravens are still lying in the weeds a little bit. The Browns are the only game behind. This ain't over yet.
No, absolutely. And, I mean, I like the Browns in this game. I really feel like they have a shot at winning.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I'm going to take what I feel is the safer option and go the under in the game.
I'm with you. I'm not taking the under. I'm taking Cleveland +3 here. I think Denver losing the receiver Sanders, losing Chris Harris also to, I think that hurt last week in San Francisco. And I think, unfortunately for them, they're gonna, I think, lose another toughie. The Browns play some good football right now, and I think they can walk in Denver and win this game against a really injured Broncos team. So I'm gonna take Cleveland +3 here. All right.
All right.
Next one here, we have the Arizona Cardinals heading to Atlanta to face the Falcons. The Falcons, right now, this is the highest spread on the board so far. Actually, it's the highest spread overall. The Falcons are 9-point favorites at home, despite losing 5 straight games. Zach, 2 teams falling apart. Obviously, the Arizona Cardinals are one of the worst teams, in my opinion, according to my rankings, worst team in the NFL. Atlanta, talent. I just think the Falcons quit altogether.
Really?
Yeah.
You think in a game against like the Falcons, though?
I'm thinking Falcons.
Right.
I'm thinking Falcons for a spread anyway, regardless.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying they've quit altogether.
That's hard to do both.
So, but I'll take Atlanta to cover 9 points because I think Arizona's is really that bad.
I'm actually going to take. I'm going to take the under in the game.
Oh, the under is at 44.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Interesting take there. Okay. Next one.
Well, chance Arizona doesn't show up on offense. So.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right. Next one here we have the Detroit Lions heading to Buffalo to face the Bills. The Bills are 3-point favorites at home. Zach, again, the Bills lose a game they probably should have won last week against the Jets. Which team will show up this week?
Well, one, I told you the Jets would win, so I don't know where you got that from.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You wanted your...
Those,
I forgot. You wanted your participation trophy because of picking that game correctly.
how many times do you pick the underdog to win outright?
Well, I just did against the Cleveland Browns game against Denver.
We'll see if you get it right, though.
Buffalo, I mean, look, they're frisky. You know, they got some talent. Josh Allen is playing some good football for the most part. Obviously, he needs to run less a little and throw the ball a little more. But
why does every young guy need to run less? The kid is young. Let him run.
Because it becomes a habit, and it's hard to break habits. Balance.
It's not hard to break a habit when you realize, oh damn, I'm getting hit because I'm getting old.
Well,
right now he is young. Let him be young and use that athleticism.
I'm not saying from the stop. I'm saying from to balance it out. But that's the offense. That's the offense right now. They're a bad team. That being said, I'm taking the over at 38.5.
Pretty low under.
Yeah.
But I don't think you could go wrong. I would actually just take the Lions, and I would expect the Lions to win outright. I believe they were actually opening line favorites, and the game has flipped completely.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, okay. Okay, moving forward. We have now, next game here, the Green Bay Packers heading to Chicago to face the Bears. The Bears currently are 6-point favorites. Man, when is the last time you saw the Bears be a 6-point favorite against the Packers, and the Packers had Aaron Rodgers? Probably never.
Oh, it's never happened.
Crazy. And that being said, I'm taking Green Bay on the points.
Well, yeah, you have to take Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers getting 6 points on the road. You would be crazy to take Chicago.
Yeah, I sense a letdown here. I'm not saying to win, I said lose the game, but I can feel letdown here. And Green Bay, for what it's worth, they're only a game back of the wild card. And I don't know if you saw the news today. We'll get down in a second, but Carson Wentz might be out for the year. So basically,
really,
So basically, it's coming down to just. I mean, if you look at all the teams right now in the wild card race currently in the NFC, Seattle's a lock. They're gonna get in. Okay, let's call that what it is. Philly just lost Wentz. He's not playing this week against the Rams this week anyway, and he's been out for the year probably. Okay, Washington, your Redskins are falling apart. They're done. Carolina's falling apart. So, realistically speaking, Green Bay is the only team that can challenge Minnesota. So that loss, Minnesota losing to Seattle didn't really hurt them as much as people thought. They're still a 6 seed, and they probably will maintain the 6 seed unless Green Bay makes a last season surge.
Yeah, I can't see that happening.
Well, this is the last tough game on the schedule for the Packers. They have Bears this week, then they play, I believe, Detroit week 17. And I think week 16 is another easy game. So if they get through this game and win this game in Chicago, it's very possible that Aaron Rodgers will win the following 2 games. And if Minnesota somehow coughs up one more game, maybe Green Bay stinks in the playoffs. I don't know.
Should start looking at Green Bay playoff odds then.
Yeah, I would look at this a little bit. Take a little peek at that. I mean, you probably get good value right now, obviously.
Yeah.
So, I'm taking Green Bay here. You with me, right? Green Bay?
I still want to. Yeah, I'm taking Green Bay, but man, do I want to take Chicago. If it was only 3, I'd be taking Chicago. But at 6, I'm going to trust Aaron Rodgers.
You know what it is too? Also, Bears got a cushion too. They're a young team, so they just want a huge game. It'd be natural for them to lay back a little bit 1 week. It'd be natural. I don't know. Even against a division rival. I don't know. So
I still think Chicago wins the game. I don't believe they can cover the 6.
Yeah. All right, next game here we have the Oakland Raiders heading to Cincinnati to face the Bengals. The Bengals are 3-point favorites. Zach, it's an unwatchable game, obviously, but who are you taking this one?
I'm going to actually take the over.
At 46.
I can't pick either team. I mean, they're both horrible to watch, but I figure they're so horrible that both offenses should be able to score some points.
I went the other way here. I took the under.
The under.
Yes.
You have noticed Oakland's been scoring a few points, right?
Say that again?
Oakland has been able to score a few points here and there.
Yeah, at home. They're on the road this time. And they're going east.
All right.
So, that's my own logic there. I thought about taking the over at one point, but it's like, never mind. All right, next one here. We have the Dallas. This is a big game here. Dallas Cowboys. The eventual NFC East champions heading to Indy to face the Colts. The Colts right now currently are 3-point favorites. Some sites have it 2.5. We got here at 3. Zachary, this is a huge game for both teams, especially for the Colts, who are trying to keep pace to get that last AFC wildcard spot. I feel like it could be a letdown for the Cowboys here because they won 5 in a row. They had a huge game win against Philadelphia last week, emotional game. A game they probably statistically should have won going away, but it went to overtime. I think a letdown is inevitable, in my opinion. Your thoughts?
Now, do you really believe that, or are you just hoping that Indy wins so that you can get that MVP bandwagon going again?
It's been going. It's continuous. It's continuous, buddy.
He's not a playoff team. You cannot be the MVP of the NFL and not at least make the playoffs.
I agree. The reason why I didn't give Russell Wilson last year for that same exact reason. But I have the Colts making the playoffs. Getting that 6 seed.
Yeah, until they're actually penciled in, he gets no consideration.
No, Lord.
And after playing Dallas, he's going to have another loss.
Whoa. To the Cowboys?
Yes. Cowboys will win this game.
Wow. All right. Well, we need some games where we actually oppose each other, so maybe we gain some ground this week, maybe you don't. We'll see. All right. Next game here we have the Miami Dolphins heading to Minnesota to face the Vikings. The Vikings right now are 7-point favorites. Zachary, this is actually the easiest game left, the hardest game left for the Vikings to end the year. So if they get through this game, I think they'll be okay making the playoffs. But Miami's done well for me. Whenever they get more than like 5-6 points, the Dolphins do very well for me when I bet them.
So you're taking them against the Vikings?
Damn right. +7.
I expect a letdown after that emotional win. I really do. A little comeback to earth. They're on the road. Give me the Vikings.
Wow, covering 7. Okay. All right, interesting. All right, next game here we have the Tennessee Titans heading to MetLife also, facing the New York Football Giants. By the way, that Jet game we announced earlier, it's a Saturday game, for the record. The Giants right now are 2.5-point favorites. Wow. Put some respect on your name. The Giants are favorites again. Who would have thought? They won 4 last 5 games and played good football and are still mathematically in the playoff race.
Remember, you heard it from me. They would finish with a better record than the Redskins.
Well,
and that was, 4 games ago?
Yep.
So,
well, when you sign Mark Sanchez, I mean, come on, what are you going to do?
but he was the answer.
Apparently.
There was no one else out there that could run this system. Only Mark Sanchez was capable of, looking like a total and complete failure.
That being said, I'm taking the Giants to win this game. Straight up. Covering spread, everything.
Me too.
Yeah. Tennessee is so up and down, you don't know to trust. Okay. Next game here, we have speaking of the Redskins, they're going to Jacksonville to face the Jaguars. This might be the most unwatchable game of the weekend. Am I joking?
Yeah. Because it's going to be a guy who, hasn't thrown a pass in the NFL in 5 years or so, going against the third-string former backup of the Cleveland Browns.
Cody Kessler. Meanwhile, the Jaguars are favored by 7 points. That's a lot of points. I don't give a fuck how good the defense is, and even though they let down against Tennessee last week, that's a lot of points.
Oh, do not do something stupid like take my Redskins.
Oh, why would I do that?
Don't
buddy?
do that.
Why would I do that? I'm taking the over at 36.
The over. I'm taking the outright under.
I feel like
I think you could make.
I'm
this
fading the public here.
Point.
I feel like everyone is going to do that. I feel like Vegas has that number set up nicely at 36 that I think going the other way, man.
You took an under at 37 last week, and you can't take this under 36.
36 is. I mean, I don't know. I think the one thing I will say is that is it Josh Johnson starting for you guys?
Yeah,
he's a starter, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Played okay in garbage time for you guys.
That's because you guys had your third string backup defenders in. Not one
I agree.
Injury.
I agree.
You're up by 40?
Yeah. Maybe just take the under. You know what? Fuck, I'm changing the pick. I'm going.
No, screw that. You should stick with the over.
Yeah, you're taking the under, right?
I'm taking the under.
All right, next one here we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
What are you taking?
I'm taking the over, like I said. We're going to go ahead and
okay.
We'll see what happens there. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers heading to Baltimore to face the Ravens. The Ravens are 8-point favorites. Zachary, I am taking the Bucs here on the points because every time, dude, the Bucs look they should have covered against New Orleans last week. What the fuck happened in the second half against New Orleans? They're getting 10 points to start the game. They're up by 14 in the third quarter, and not only they lose the fucking game, they actually they even New Orleans even covers.
The Saints remembered who they were. They were still stunned and in shock from the Dallas game that it took them a whole another half. But then they finally woke up and realized, oh wait, we're the Saints. That's the Buccaneers. Let's go out and play some football.
That being said, I am a glutton for punishment. I don't care. Give me the Bucs +8 here.
I'm gonna take the Bucs plus the points also.
Okay. Baltimore wins the game, I think, but there's a lot of points for Baltimore team.
Yeah.
They're not gonna blow you away. They're not gonna blow you out.
And does Lamar Jackson keep the starting job?
Yeah, he will. Because as long as they keep winning, they'll. What? Let me ask you this: why would you bring Joe Flacco in to begin with? At this point, what does Joe Flacco give you right now in the vacuum in this moment right now that Baltimore needs? I mean, obviously downfield thrower, but I mean Flacco's been on the way down for the last couple of years.
Absolutely, but you never know.
Give me Tampa here. Okay, next one here we have the Seattle Seahawks headed to San Francisco to face the Niners. The Seahawks currently are 5-point favorites. Zachary, I went ahead and took Seattle to cover this spread because I think San Francisco's done. Even though they won last week against Denver, that was Denver. Seattle's on a roll, they're on a mission. I think this team is very dangerous. So give me Seattle.
I'll take Seattle all day. I think there's still a little bit more pent-up frustration from what Richard Sherman had to say.
Yep.
So I would expect Seattle to come in and put a stomping on San Fran.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. All right, next one, the big one. I mean, if Chargers Chiefs ain't the biggest game of the weekend, and this one certainly is. And this is the Patriots heading to Pittsburgh to face the Steelers, who all of a sudden now have gone from a team that, were a lock to win the division and maybe steal a 2 seed, to now their playoff lives can be on the line these next 2 weeks. The Pats are favored by 1.5 right now. I'm going to take the over in this game at 52.5 because I don't know. I have, even though the Pats lost, the Pats aren't the same team as they were the last couple of years. It's something. Brady he doesn't look old, but you're seeing more old moments now. You're seeing a 40-year-old in more times than you have in the last year or so. And I'm not saying they won't win this game.
Starting to fall off the cliff.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they'll lose this game, whatever. But the Pats are let's put it this way. I don't care if you're Baltimore. I don't care if you're even Pittsburgh. I wouldn't be scared of this Patriots team anymore. They don't scare me. Like if you're an opponent in the Patriots, unless you're a terrible team, obviously, they shouldn't scare you. That's all. I mean, the defense
I don't
is not
think
that
they
great.
have any weapons to scare you anymore.
I mean, you have the elements. Gronk is holding on by duct tape. Elements is pretty good, but Elements only as great as Gronk is. Josh Gordon's been decent, but I mean, do they scare you? No. Pittsburgh should be able to win this game, talent-wise alone. But we'll see. I mean, I'm going to take the over this game anyway because I don't trust the Steelers, number one, to put money on them. And the Pats, they look like a team that can be beaten in a division round of playoffs. Just saying.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the scared bet and go with the over as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If the Pats win, you get the over, and if by miracle the Steelers were to win, they're going to want to try and put a whooping on them.
Yeah.
To make up for all the years they have lost. So.
And they need this game.
The safer bet would be to go the over.
Yeah, if I'm a Steelers fan, the game I fear is next week, not this one. It's the one against New Orleans. That's one I'd be scared of. So, anyway, moving forward. All right, the Philadelphia Eagles, Sunday football here. Philadelphia Eagles heading to L.A. to face the Rams. The Rams are now 9-point favorites. I expect this line to move more as the announcement about Carson Wentz. This came out about an hour or two ago. He's not playing this week and possibly for the season. Eagles are done. They're done. And I think the Rams, you combine it with the Rams and how they played last week against the Bears and that cold weather and how bad they look, and everybody's starting to doubt the Rams a little bit, which I think is stupid only because of the fact that as long as the Rams are not playing outdoors in the cold going forward, which they won't because they'll have a bye week no matter what, and the only other team they'll have to worry about is playing in New Orleans, which is in a dome, you'll be fine. So in that retrospect, give me the Rams to cover this game easily. Easily. The Eagles are done.
All right. So you're telling me that the Super Bowl MVP getting 9 points is not enough for you? That a team who is looking at their opponent saying, oh, their starter's out at quarterback. Maybe we don't need to practice as hard. Maybe we don't need to pay attention.
Well,
I get the sneaky suspicion that the Super Bowl MVP that you are disrespecting,
Nick Foles,
will keep them close. Keep them within one score in
I'll
the
tell you
fourth
what.
quarter.
I'll tell you what. If this line moves like I think it will move, because I don't think the line's reacted to Carson Wentz just yet. If it moves to 14 points, then I'm with you. But 9?
14! Dude. No. Give me the 9. Give me Nick Foles. Give me the Super Bowl MVP.
Wow, that's a really risky move that you just made, Zach. That could be your season right there on this one our little competition here we have going here. Okay, finally, we have the New Orleans Saints heading to Carolina Monday Night Football against the Panthers. The Saints are a big favorite here, 6.5 points on the road against Carolina, who's fading. Zachary, where you go on this one?
I think you have to look at this line and go, even Vegas believes that Carolina has quit.
Yeah.
And with that, hey, bet New Orleans to win, bet New Orleans to cover, and bet on Ron Rivera losing his job on Monday.
I will say this though, I think Carolina will show up this week. It is a nationally televised game. You can't hide under the other 8-9 games in red zone this week. And I think the awareness of that alone will have Carolina in this game. I'll take Carolina the points here. I still think New Orleans wins this game because they're still playing for number 1 seed in the NFC. But I like Carolina the points here. I think Carolina will show some pride. Divisional game at number 1, national televised game number 2, and they have players that their defense is their only issue. I mean, people say, "Oh, Cam Newton sucks." Cam Newton's having a career year. Actually, you can argue he's having a better year. He's having a better year this year than his MVP year. Their defense sucks. But I think pride will come out here. I think they'll show up for this game. I still think New Orleans win this game though. It'll be a lot closer than 6.5 points.
So Carolina's lost 5 games in a row, right?
Yeah, yes, correct.
And you think that a team who's lost 5 weeks in a row is going to show up with pride?
You heard what I said, right? The only reason why I if this game was like on 1 o'clock on Fox, where you can hide this game under the 8 or 9 games at 1 o'clock on Red Zone, I'll take New Orleans because whatever. But there's something to be said about teams playing on a spotlight game, Monday Night Football. Don't get embarrassed. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and if they're down by more than a touchdown at halftime, it could get ugly by the end.
Let me tell you, I will say this, Dak. If they lose this game and lose it in an embarrassing fashion, Rivera's done.
Yeah.
That I will say. Rivera's done. So, all right. Before you go, have you heard these rumors about the last week or so. Well, last couple of days, I'd say. Brian Windhorst wrote a piece on ESPN.com about the possibility of Kawhi Leonard and Kevin Durant going to the Clippers. I will say this though: the validity of Kawhi going to the Clippers is definitely high. And in fact, I think if he goes to LA, that's where he's going to go, not to the Lakers, to the Clippers. But the Durant thing is interesting too because remember last week Durant called, was talking about the media, how the media, covers LeBron and players don't want to go there, don't want to play there because of the scrutiny the players are under. And I actually, and look, Durant is a bitch in a lot of ways. I've been talking to Durant the last couple of years, post goal, since leaving OKC. But he wasn't wrong when he said here. He actually is correct.
Oh, absolutely not. He said it spot on.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but here's the thing now. Was Kevin Durant trying to poison the well in an effort to, let's say that these rumors, this article that Windhorst wrote has some validity to it. Was Durant trying to poison the well so that he can get the top free agents next year if he decides to leave Golden State after the end of the year, as opposed to LeBron?
Well, if by miracle this was actually put out by Kevin Durant to try and sway Kawhi, I don't know if Kawhi is the guy who would care about LeBron getting the attention, because Kawhi is so quiet and is afraid to stand up to the public scrutiny that I think he wouldn't care if he was second fiddle to LeBron. I also think Kawhi won't mind being second fiddle to Kevin Durant.
Right. But I think
it all comes down to whether or not Kawhi really wants to give up a fifth-year option in Toronto.
Yeah. And not only that, Toronto's playing very well. They're right now the number 1 seed currently the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. There's a very good chance they'll probably go to the finals this year, unless Boston makes it last. Boston's playing very well the last couple of games, but Toronto, it's working. Toronto's working right now. It's a great city, underrated city in the NBA. I don't know. I think there's something to be said to that. I think people underrating depending on how everything plays out this year for Toronto in the playoffs. I think people are underrating the fact that maybe Kawhi might stay in Toronto because it is a city that
I still think he will. I don't see any NBA player giving up a fifth year in a contract that's worth $45 million.
I know I've heard for the last year that he desires to come to LA. When you hear LA, you think Lakers, but no, the Clippers are just as wide. And by the way, for the record, Clippers are stable right now. The Clippers are very stable ever since Donald Sterling left. And look, by the way, they did the right thing in getting rid of letting Chris Paul, trade Chris Paul away. DeAndre Jordan, letting him walk. Blake Griffin. In hindsight, Jerry West did the right thing because right now they're stable and in position to do bigger and better things if they land some of these stars.
Well, it had to do with the fact that you weren't going to win a championship with the guys they had.
Yeah.
Even with Chris Paul and Jordan and Griffin, you were never going to take out Golden State. So why pay 3 players an enormous contracts when you could free up space to try and bring in 2 stars that could actually win you a championship? And I think they looked at it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be interesting, though. I think this story is going to have... I think the story has a lot more legs than people give it credit for. I know people want to, writers write for clicks, all that, but I think this story has a lot more legs. Because, the Durant angle is fascinating because, first off, you got to believe he's leaving Golden State #1 to even give this story some validation. And why? Yeah. And you wonder, okay, why would you leave Golden State #1? Because, again, the fact he's won two MVPs there, 2 Finals MVPs there, 2 championships, and they are likely to win a third. Why would you leave unless the perception is I have to do this on my own? I don't know. The Draymond stuff.
Okay, I don't know. So then you do that, and he's got that thought process of now I need to win one on my own. Do you stay in the Western Conference and do you stay in a city like LA where you complained about how you'd be second fiddle on a team? Well, if you don't get another major star to come with you, like a Kawhi, you're going to be second fiddle in LA. And that will be just as intense for him as what it is now in Golden State. So if he is leaving, I think he leaves and goes to either Brooklyn or the Knicks.
I was going to say that. I think the Knicks are far more appealing in terms of the legacy flip. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? What would be the move to help your legacy as the guy that flipped the fortunes of his franchise? The Knicks. I already said, I did a podcast on this back in November, and I said there's a snippet on my YouTube page I put out for 7 minutes. If Kevin Durant goes to New York and wins the title, that would be 4 times bigger than LeBron winning one in LA. Far bigger.
Oh, absolutely. And you would look at it right now, and if he managed to win, it would probably be with lesser talent than what Cleveland had on their roster when they managed to beat Golden State. So I think even if he was only able to get them to the finals, it would almost count like a finals victory by taking the Knicks.
Like, I'm a Heat fan. I'm not supposed to want this at all. But as an NBA fan, Durant going to New York would be great for the league. Be great for the league. Honestly, I don't want these. I'm done with these super teams, dude. It's too much now. Like, enough already. Enough of these teaming up. Like, go get your own team and win big. You know?
Well, could that be the other option that Kevin Durant's playing? Is hey, don't go team up with LeBron. Team up with me on the Clippers. You sign first with the Clippers, and then he goes and signs with New York. So he weakens the team in the East. Doesn't allow LeBron to be able to power up with anyone big. Could he do something like that?
Yeah, but there is one ace in the hole, though, to the Lakers. In the event this happens. If the Lakers, and the signs are strong, because of the management changes that happened recently for this guy. If the Lakers land Anthony Davis, that's
they
a
are not landing Anthony Davis.
Why do you think? Why do you think not?
That is the kind of owner who would rather let the guy walk than trade him.
Well, his deal's up in a year and a half.
You're not going to get anything of equal value.
His deal's up in a year and a half. He has 1 more year's contract. He can opt out after 2020 at 2020 rather. He can opt out of his deal. Rich Paul is now his manager. That's LeBron's guy.
So now you're going to talk about 2 more seasons on LeBron's legs.
Yeah. I think.
So you really think he wants to play with an aging LeBron?
But doesn't he have an obligation to do what's right for his franchise, the ownership of the Hornets? If you know he's not coming back, if you know that Anthony Davis is not coming back to the team, and that's out there, and the Lakers have pieces, and by the way, the Lakers do have pieces in a trade to get back, which they're willing to give. I'm sure they'll give it Alonzo Ball and Ingram also for Davis.
Ooh, is that going to win them anything in the conference? No.
For who? The Lakers or the Pelicans?
The Pelicans.
Dude,
anything they get back will not help them win.
Well, it doesn't matter. Well, because they lost Davis. That's why.
Yeah. So you're not going to get a draft pick that could possibly save your franchise. You're not going to get enough and equal value on the court in order to go anywhere in the conference or have a shot at the finals. So why would you make a trade to help another team?
I mean, it's fascinating stuff. It's a good point there. I don't know. I think also people. Somebody was telling me the other day that the Pelicans have the obligation to trade him. Just keep him to the end, and if he walks, he walks. Fuck it. And
that's what you should do with these stars. When on the 5th year of your supermax, you can offer 45 to 50 million more. There are not that many players that will say, you know what, let me give that up.
There may be 2 or 3 players in the league that would do that. Steph Curry's one of those guys because of endorsements. LeBron James because of endorsements. Kevin Durant because of endorsements. Is Davis in that conversation? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Davis still does. Anthony Davis
he
to
doesn't
me
have the shoe deal.
Well, what I'm saying, Anthony Davis to me, as great as he is, and he's a top 5 player in the league, no doubt about that, still has a Tim Duncan feel to him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So what's more likely, that he stays in New Orleans, signs a supermax,
right,
and they managed to bring in a second star?
Well, I mean, New Orleans. I gotta be honest, that's a really bad NBA market. I know he watching any games on League Pass and some of their games at home. Like they barely get 8,000 people in that arena a game, and that's with Davis. It's bad. It's a bad NBA market. I gotta tell you. If they move to Seattle, it would surprise me. If they move to Seattle, it would surprise me.
If you're Anthony Davis, you literally choose to wait until after this summer just to see where everyone goes. Because if there's no super team in LA and Durant has left Golden State, they are weaker. Your team now is closer to a finals than ever before. Just to that process of elimination.
If their front office chooses to spend money, yes, you're right. But I don't know. I mean, obviously they extended Davis because they had to. They had no choice. But do you think this franchise will spend the money necessary despite not getting butts in seats? Because that's the problem. They don't get butts in seats. I don't think anybody gives a shit in New Orleans. It's a football town. It's about LSU, the Saints, and you know what I mean?
Well, I think if you have a actual legit playoff team, they start showing up. Like if you're a French playoff team, it's hard for certain cities to show up.
Well, they went second round playoffs last year, lost to Golden State, but I mean.
And what happened the year before?
Was Davis hurt last year before that? Yeah, I believe he was hurt last year. Yeah.
So they've had one playoff team in 2 years, if not 3 years. So I'm just saying, to expect a fan base who hasn't really had a winning history to show up, you can't do that. But I think you make your decision after you see what happens during this summer.
Right.
If Golden State gets weaker and there's no super team in LA, the world's your oyster. You can either decide to go join someone else and become a super team, or you can be the guy who lures another free agent.
Something in the year. I think the LA stuff could be real for Davis. We'll see how it plays out. I mean, like I said, all these stories come out now. It's fascinating. It really is fascinating. And I think next summer is going to be one of the most fascinating free agency times. I mean, we say this every year because of LeBron being involved or maybe KD, whatever. But I think next year, because this is the next era of stars now that that will own this league for the next couple of years. It's gonna be very fascinating to see how what happens with the Durant thing and the Kawhi thing and all that. Very fascinating shit. It really is.
Absolutely. Hey, New Orleans could end up with Bradley Beal.
They get him right now if they wanted to. Fuck. I mean, that Washington is cooked. Like if I'm a team in cap room, like if I'm New Orleans, you got to go on. I mean, you get Bradley Beal and still have Drew Holiday and Beal backcourt, and Drew Holiday's a lot more a better player suited to play with him because he's number one. He's not an asshole. For starters.
I think just getting away from John Wall would make Bradley Beal play like an All-Pro.
And New Orleans
just to have that stress.
And New Orleans should be better than they are. New Orleans should be a lot better than they are too. New Orleans should be a lot better than their record.
Absolutely.
So I don't know. Zach, thank you so much as always. We'll see next week, of course.
All right, man. Thank you.